Then it looks like we're live on Facebook and YouTube.
Mm. What up, everybody? How's everyone doing? Glad to be back at the normal time. It always makes me feel good to run things on schedule. We always start it with what we're grateful for. I want to let some people come in, and so we could talk about this together. Today's topic is actually today's topic is going to be interesting. We'll see where this goes, both emotionally and where it goes as far as what we say and things of that nature. So hopefully y'all doing good. You said we're live on Facebook and YouTube as well?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so what's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? Don't worry. I'm gonna build that fan base up on there on TikTok. Let y'all start flowing in. I know it always takes a second for everything to get going. Oh, that was weird. I heard myself.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all good. I was like, wait, what am I saying?
I always check on my phone.
Yeah. I just wasn't ready for it. Normally I am. So let's start with what I'm grateful for on the You Control You podcast, baby. This one I've thought about a lot this weekend, and I haven't verbalized it yet. I was still trying to find the right words. So I don't know if the right words are going to come out right now, but it's definitely something that's been crossing my mind. I'm extremely grateful that I had certain men in my life that could teach me right from wrong and show me what a good father is, and be able to talk to me in a way that kept me from crossing certain lines that I probably would now regret that I crossed. So I'm extremely thankful for that. I'm extremely grateful for that. Whether they were friends' dads or what I call brothers and I call them pops, or if it was certain teachers. It's funny, I had a 5th grade teacher and an art teacher in my elementary school that played a major role in my life, and they were very strict and very fair, and that really helped. So I'm extremely grateful for them. And yeah, as always, you can always comment and let me know what you're grateful for. Let me know what sort of things you're grateful and thankful for, basically, is the only way I could word that. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about how to overcome sexual assaults. And I was thinking if there's another way to word that instead of overcome, because I don't know if it's the right word to say you overcome it. I would say, so I've been really trying to think about that. It's one of the words that actually probably fits the best. I think it's how you're able to use it. You got to find a way to use that experience to teach you certain things. Like I say all the time, there's always lessons within every experience that you go through. The experience doesn't have to always be labeled positive or negative. It is what it is. It's an experience to teach you something, and it's on you to really figure out what you are trying, what it is that you can really take from it. What lessons did you learn? And it's really hard. It's really hard in these situations because you're so emotionally fueled and you focus on your perspective so much and the pain that you went through so much that it tends to be really hard to look past it, is the best way to say it. So yeah, I guess the The big thing to start off is one, I grew up dealing with this. Hmm. You know, you always think you're prepared to talk about something, and then you got to talk about it, and then it's always like, interesting. So 4 or 5 is basically what I can remember, where I have some interesting memories. So I've been, I don't know, I worry about it getting flagged. So I was, mm, I dealt with sexual abuse, and I think they always flag the word, that 4-letter word that starts with an R, got an A in it, got a P in it, and an E. I think social media tends to flag that word a little bit. So maybe I'll call it BAPE. um, but hopefully you know what I'm saying with that. So from about the age of 4 or 5, that's when I started dealing with it. I've dealt with it from 4 different men. 3 of them actually, you know what? Screw it. Do you care if it gets flagged?
Huh?
Do you care if it gets flagged? All right, we'll edit it if we have to and repost it or something. But so I dealt with being raped by 3 different men when I was a kid, and 2 of them were people. 2 of them were guys that just happened to live on the, or one of them lived on the block, and it just sort of, someone was there, and it just happened. That happened when I was probably between the ages of 9 and 11, maybe even 12. So, but the being raped in your own house by somebody who was supposed to be your protector was very confusing in my mind and very hard to understand. And I'm starting to talk about it now and working on it in a book, talking about the experience of walking down these dark stairs. And it's weird because it would have like light shining in, but they were still dark, and walk into this basement and go into a bedroom, and basically then dealing with being assaulted and raped on a consistent basis, and then walking back up the stairs and having to not show it and basically hide it, and wear a smile on my face and pretend that that wasn't real, that isn't my life. And it caused like almost this split personality aspect, where my ego would take over a little bit more at times, so I can smile and just move forward with my life. So, and the other sexual assault, I wasn't raped, but it was by one of my older stepbrothers, where I was dealing with a lot of forcing to touch him and forcing to do things. And again, at an age where it's like, I don't even know what's going on. I truly didn't understand what was going on, and didn't understand anything. And by the time I was old enough to really figure it out and understand what was going on, some of them already happened, and one of them, I didn't even know what to do with it, to be honest. With my stepfather, that didn't stop until I was already a teenager and didn't really know what to do, didn't really understand how to talk about it. And to be honest, I was really ashamed and embarrassed, because, you know, I grew up in a time period where I, it wasn't, it, we knew people were gay, but it's like nobody really talked about it. And it wasn't looked upon as like, I don't know, like a cool thing. I'm not saying, like, I don't know how else to describe that growing up as a kid. And so, and I couldn't really get any help for the other abuse I was dealing with. Like, he was a very violent person. He was constantly calling me dumb or the N word. that one will get flagged for sure if I say that. So, you know, I would get beaten, told I was dumb, told I was, you know, basically he would say, stop acting like the N-word, or you're being an N-word. And it was like, it was because it was the same person who was also raping me. Like, it really messed up my entire mind. And there were so many different things going on with my emotions and my mind at that time, because growing up, I'm mixed. My mom's white, my father was Black and Hispanic. He wasn't in my life, and I'm growing up in a predominantly Black and Hispanic neighborhood, but everybody in the house is white. And so it's like this weird, like, trying to understand what's going on with myself and my own identity. And then I have this man calling me the N-word. And like, anytime I make a mistake, if I didn't understand something, if I couldn't find something, if any little mistake, I was getting hit upside the head or beaten. And some of it was like, oh, that's just a generation thing. Like when he would say, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry for. That's just a generational thing. And I'm not the only one that's ever dealt with that. But it's like, sometimes it went over, a lot of times it went overboard. Beaten with a hammer, beaten with I believe a carburetor from an air compressor, screwdrivers, wrenches, pipe wrenches, rakes, shovel, like anything he could get his hands on at that moment of time, I could be hit with, on top of a belt or things thrown at me. And it was like, it became such an environment where it was like, if I make a mistake, right? If I mess up, there's going to be repercussions for that mistake. And so it made me not even want to try to, like, I would just sometimes freak out and freeze, because if I made a mistake, I was going to get beaten. And in my mind, that was just going to make the rape even worse. And so it's like, it was so hard. So my mom didn't know about being raped. When I've talked to her about the physical abuse, I don't know if he ever called me the N-word in front of her. I don't remember. A lot of times that I do recall him saying it, she wasn't there. She wasn't around. So I'm sorry if you're on Facebook or YouTube. O'Shea asked, dude, where was your mom during this? And so, as far as the physical abuse, I've asked her about it, and you know, it's not a great answer, but she would say, I thought it would be worse if we left him. If we left him, we would be worse. And so I think she was worried about financially, where would we be? Where would we live at? And, you know, it is what it is. Nothing I could do about it now. I know now that at least the state, or the whatever they're called, the county people, whatever they were called back in the day, or whatever they're called in Illinois, they were called at least twice. One of them, they talked to me, and I lied. I said, no, this is the first time he's put his hands on me. And they knew that wasn't true because they were called before. I didn't know that. I just sort of discovered that they were actually called when my grandmother lived with us. And so that was one of the main reasons she was booted out, is because she had one of my aunts call. I know the police were called multiple times. And it's like, I see that, did you file a report? I didn't file a report, and I was asked to lie a little bit the last time I talked to him. Last time I talked to the state or county people, and I've talked about this story before. It was the last time my stepfather put hands on me, because at this time, it was my sophomore year of high school. By this time, I'm 6 feet tall, like 220, 230 pounds, and football, wrestling, benching crazy numbers, squatting crazy numbers. And make a long story short, he just put his hands on me, and I body slammed him and then fought back. and then left. And I ended up, when I came back, I had to come back with the police. They brought me back, and then he cracked my eye wide open, like right above my eyebrow, right in front of the police officer. I had to be held down and restrained. He was arrested and let go that night. So that wouldn't happen now, but in it's now it wouldn't happen, but back in the day, it is what it is. People looked at things differently. So, but a lot of, for a long time, I just glossed over made that part of my life. I didn't talk about it too often. I was just like, you know what? People have dealt with worse, right? And it is what it is. And you can only run from it for so long, though, right? You can only run from the things that happened in your past for so long. And I didn't realize how much I was feeding off that pain. And I've talked about that before. Like you could feed off that pain. So it's like when I'm tired, it was like, no, I've dealt with worse, keep going. Or if I'm doing something and I'm in pain, nope, I could block out this pain because it's, well, what do you mean by that, O'Shea? So it's, you only run from it for so long. And I didn't realize how much I didn't love myself because I didn't deal with it, how much I looked at myself a certain way, how much of an effect it had on me. And it's weird because when my daughter was born, right, I'm like 24, my daughter's born, and I'm like, okay, if I stay mad at this person, if I stay mad at my stepfather, right, it's going to affect how I raise my daughter. So I'm like, I have to forgive him. I have to forgive him to let it go. And I thought that was the best thing moving forward. So I remember talking to him, and Melanie, I got you. I'm definitely going to talk about that point in a little bit. So when I forgave him, I was like, okay, I can move forward, right? And I just knew, I'm like, I'm not going to do anything that was done to me. I'm not going to abandon my child like my father did me. And I'm just going to go forward. And I did that. Again, that didn't solve the issue, right? I didn't come to terms with the issue. I didn't deal with this. I didn't do what I had to do with this. So I just knew I wasn't going to raise my daughter like that. I wasn't going to lay my hands on her. I wasn't going to rape her. I wasn't going to do anything like that that was done to me. And I'll talk about that too, Travis. Let me get to that. And so forgiving him, I thought I did my job. I'm like, okay, I forgave him. And it wasn't until really my son was born that I seen how many demons were still in me, because I wasn't sure how to raise a man, because the way I was raised, that isn't what I want to do. But how am I going to raise this man? Now I have a son. And I'm like, okay, again, let's do everything opposite of what was done. And going the complete opposite wasn't the wrong thing. However, it didn't give me a chance to see what I've learned in that process, what I learned from going through this. And so it wasn't until COVID, and it's so weird because whenever you can hide behind so much when you stay busy. And at this time, I'm training for fights, and I'm helping run a nonprofit, and I have hip hop programs in schools, and I'm doing tours, and I'm booking shows, and I'm doing marketing work, and I'm just busy all the time on top of being a father of two. And I'm just busy. And then I run a gym, and then I decide to buy the gym and do less in the music business, but I'm still running these school programs, and I'm running around and shaking and baking and just thinking, I'm like, cool, I'm always busy. But the problem when you're always busy is that you're not taking any time for yourself. And the moment COVID hit and we shut down, and I couldn't do anything, I got slapped in the face with my life. And I couldn't hide from anything anymore. I couldn't run. I couldn't distract my mind. I just had to sit there and deal with the fact that this shit happened to me. That the man that chose to marry my mom, that was supposed to show me the way to be a man, right? Would constantly call me the N-word, would constantly call me dumb, ignorant, beat me. On top of that, rape me very often from the moment I can remember, around 4 or 5, until at least being a teenager. My self-worth wasn't there. And now I can look back. I stayed in relationships, abusive relationships with women because of that. Because I literally looked at myself like I was trash and didn't even realize it. I would work hard for the validation of people knowing I'm working hard, that nobody can outwork me. My achievements is what fulfilled me. And when you can't go after that anymore, you soon realize like achievements aren't enough to fulfill you. And I was so confused because the 2 other men that raped me were Black. And so for a while there, as a kid, I was like, okay, this is just some white dude doing this. Okay. And when my older stepbrother is touching me and it's like, and making me touch him, it's like, okay, another white guy. But now these 2 Black dudes do it and I'm blown away. And then my first interaction with women, she was an adult and I was still a kid. And back then it was like, yo, I'm the man, right? I'm the man. But then you realize like, she had no business doing that. None. So for most of my life, and for some reason, dudes think this is like, young dudes think this is like the ego talk, or they're hyping themselves up. Like, I thought I was only good for sex. It's like, because if I brought my heart to the table, it would get treated like trash. But if let me please these women and let me do this, that's what I'm good for. I'm good for this. And as long as I bring money to the table, that's all I thought I was good for. And like I said, COVID shutting down really made me face a lot of that. And now we lead into how to overcome it. Now I know someone, yeah, thank you. How did you truly forgive someone? What's the process? Even before that. Someone said, you are a better man than I am, brother. I'd probably be doing some real time. O'Shea, if you're still there, I feel you. I understand, like, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying I'm a slave. I don't think I was a slave. What I'm understanding, though, is the psychology behind it, right? Because before I knew to fight back, that was already happening to me. Getting beaten, being called these names, being raped, it was already happening. So off the bat, that dominance was already being showed. So it's easy to say, yeah, I would buck. That's not, when you're raised in it, that's not as easy. Like, if this person came into my life when I was 10, maybe a whole different story, right? But they were there from the jump, basically since I was 1. And this is just what I can remember. Like, I don't know what happened before that. So it was this entire dominance thing. And it's like, I didn't even know I did have that power until I was 15. But now at 15, I'm just reckless anyway. I'm gangbanging, I'm fighting all the time. I'm like, you couldn't tell me anything anyway. I'm wilding. So I could fight back easily. When 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 do when people do you wrong, they live with yep. Having a child changes our perspective. That's true. How do you truly forgive someone? What's the process in your heart? So when I first forgave him, I was like, I got to do this for me so I can let go of this hate, right? I can let go of this anger because I don't want to bring that to the table with my daughter. And so I thought I was cured. I thought it was a magic. I thought I took like some NyQuil and I was good, um, and I think it helped, right? It definitely emptied the cup. I cried, I forgave him, but my heart wasn't at what I guess call it purified. I wasn't because I still resented him. I still resented what he did. And I knew that because I didn't look at the good things he did. Now, I'm not saying the good outweighs the bad. What I'm saying is there's always two sides of the coin. That's the same man that taught me how to play chess, taught me how to play Risk, taught me how to count, like taught me how many cards are in a deck, how many cards are in a suit, to memorize it, to do certain things. And it doesn't outweigh the all the bad, but because of that, it's like I just wiped him from my. I still resented him. I didn't play as many games with my kids that I could have, because I said, nah, I'm not going to be anything like him. Instead of just taking the good that I did get from him and the understanding of it and apply that. So my heart, I could say, I don't know what was in my heart right there. It's like, I just thought I was doing the right thing. I knew I still resented him. I still had anger towards him. I probably still hated him. So I know someone said, I think Melanie said something. If you're still here, Mama, I told everyone what I went through because if I could help them, then they are survivors, not victims. Yeah, we did nothing wrong. We loved our father. Yeah, that sucks, Melanie. That, like, I feel you on that. They're no better than you're no better than the abuser, and you have to live with that. You must let it all go. It's not ours to carry. It was a gang member I slang block, and I found myself. Yeah, that sucks, man. Zoe, you've learned to focus on the positive instead of negative. That's a good to start healing. Yes, definitely. I know someone said something about like they're dead and got like people talked about that karma with my stepfather because he ended up having a couple of strokes, and then one of them while he was driving, he hit a log truck, like a truck that carries big logs and things of that nature. He was basically bedridden and paralyzed. And people were like, oh, good, that's karma. And I don't believe karma works like that. I believe you bring about your own energy, but that didn't just punish him. Now my mom took care of this man who was bedridden. So that also punished my mom, and that punished our family. And it didn't stop him. Oh, good. Okay, cool. Melanie, like one of the people on TikTok just said she wished nothing on him. Okay, cool. Because you don't want that energy. Like that didn't stop him from calling me the N-word, didn't stop him from throwing things at my head. It didn't stop him. He couldn't put his hands on me anymore, but it didn't stop the anger he had within himself. And so it's like, thank you, Niece Pooh, for sharing. Like, I hope all of you just keep sharing with people. Like, I just want to help people out here. And so during COVID was the first time I really put it out there to the public. Now, I did motivational speaking, and I would talk about dealing with the abuse, but I never really put it out there for public consumption. And the moment I did, then all of a sudden, one of my students came to me at my gym and cried and opened up and said that they dealt with that. So, and they didn't know that I went through that. And then all of a sudden people started talking. He beat me till his arms were tired. And after life said he carried what, yeah, it's tragic, man. So I knew me sharing it would help people open up more, but it was just like my cup was so full and I didn't love myself. I didn't know how to start telling myself that I love myself. And I didn't know what to do and I couldn't run from it. And I remember having this moment where my ex-wife and I are going through a divorce, and I'm feeling really crappy about myself because I'm like, man, like I can't make another relationship work. Like I'm only good for this. Maybe I am just dumb a dumb N-word. And I'm like, everything's overwhelming. And I'm like, how is everything overwhelming when I have nothing going on right now? I'm just standing still. And it's like dealing with this identity crisis, like I'm not fighting anymore, but now I can't run a business. I can't do this and I can't do that. I'm messing up my kids' lives because I'm going through a divorce. The new relationship I'm in, she's putting her hands on me and throwing it in my face that I was raped. And it's like, excuse me. And I remember the night vividly. I walk out to my vehicle and I'm like, it's it. I'm calling it a day. I'm like, my kids will be better off without me. My ex-wife will be better off without me. Everybody's going to be better off without me because I'm nothing. I'm nothing. And I pointed that gun right at my head. And I'm like, I'm calling it a day. And have my hand on the trigger, and I'm like, I got to do it. And it's like the most slow motion thing going on. And I just get all these views of my kids and all the messages I constantly tell them and preach to them. Never quit on yourself. It's okay to fall down. You just got to get back up. It's okay to cry. It's okay to break. You just got to keep going forward. Telling my son, if you cry, society tells you men shouldn't cry, but I'm telling you it's okay to cry. Just keep doing the work. My daughter's a fighter at this time and fighting under me. And it's like, you can keep pushing forward. You got this. And these constant messages. And I'm like, if I do this, I'm going to throw it all away. Every message that I ever preach to them, they're never going to listen. And I'm going to mess up their life worse than anything that I've been through. And I don't do it. And I just cry. And I emptied my cup beyond belief. And then I just get to work. And this is the process of overcoming it. So I had to start writing and journaling and talking to myself. And not just talking to myself the way my stepfather would talk to me. Now I have to talk to myself in the way I wish he would have talked to me. I had to talk to him in the way that I wish my father was around and spoke to me. I had to become my own father. And they talk about this inner child a lot, right? Now in society. And I had to start healing that part of me. I don't know if it's an inner child, but it's a part of you that gets scarred and it's stuck. It's stuck wherever that major damage was done. And you have to build that person up. There should be always a child like us, a childlike version in us, because they always say, look at the world with childlike eyes, but just don't be naive like a child. So I had to look back and help that child realize that the world is not as disgusting as we think it is. And if we could survive what we survived, then we are capable of anything. And you have to start putting yourself first. So it started with words of affirmation, and then it went into prayers, and it went into journaling, and it went into understanding myself and getting a good foothold on my own perspective, and understanding that my perspective is always going to be slanted this way. It's going to be slanted first in the negative. it's going to think that everybody is out to get me and everybody's out to hurt me. And I have to understand that. I am never going to be able to get rid of that. But if I know that it's there, then all my actions change now because I understand my perspective. And then I had to add in this key. And this is something that people really lose sight of. I had to look at life and understand somebody else's perception. I had to understand somebody else's point of view to really bring about true to life empathy. And so I'm reading all these books and I'm studying and I'm watching these videos and I'm listening to people talk. And it's like, okay, I'm going through this and figuring out what works for me and what doesn't. So regular journaling was cool, but I didn't like it. I like a formatted journaling, right? Words of affirmation are cool, but I had to do it a certain way for it to work for me. And once I found this structure, right, it started to take a foothold. And then I had to be patient with myself because there's no timetable on this. The scar is always going to be there, but not everything needs to open it up. It never has to be open again. I can let it heal. I can let it heal and close and not let everything that's done to me reopen that wound. And then the last part of it, and I think this is the longest process, and this is the hardest thing to do, is I had to look at this man because he was already dead, right? My stepfather passed away. I couldn't confront him. I couldn't. I got you. I'll talk about it. Zoe, I got you. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I found empathy for the man. I found empathy for the other two men. I found empathy for my older stepbrother. I found empathy for these people. I found empathy for that woman, right? Because I can't fathom having sex with my kids. I can't fathom beating the hell out of my kids. I can't even picture a world where I could do that. And I know what I went through. So what did they have to go through that could bring that out of them? It had to be bad. It had to be so bad for them. And it doesn't mean that the atrocities were the same, but something hurt them so bad that they could do that. And when you look at it that way, it's like, man, I feel bad for you. That sucks. That sucks that life was horrible for you and it caused that much pain. And that was your way of letting it out. I had sympathy. I was able to have empathy. I was able to look at things, and then I was able to find peace within myself because of it. Because now I'm not harboring all this anger and this resentment towards these people. Once I could let that go, I could finish the process of healing myself and focusing on myself, because what was already done was done. And coming to that realization as well is realizing that whatever happened to me in the past is already in the past. I cannot go back and change that, right? I can't go back in time. And if I could, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't care for people the way I care for people. I wouldn't be the father that I am. I wouldn't be able to help so many people out at my gym. I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't have been able to fight with one working foot because the pain would have been too much. I wouldn't have been able to go through what I've gone through. I wouldn't be able to push my body to the levels that I can push it. My pain tolerance wouldn't be as high. And it would change who I am. And I don't want to change that. So I wouldn't go back in time and change that. And since I can't, I have to let it go. Does it hurt? Yeah, some days, especially like I'm working on my book. Like it hurts. Like I'm feeling it now talking about it. But I know that's in my past. It hurts because I know what I've been through. And the hardest and easiest thing to do is to let it go. It's only hard because we feel like we have to hang on to it. We feel like we have to hold on to it. But we're not meant to we're not meant to hold that attachment to anything, good or bad. We can't. If we hang on to it too tight, it corrupts us. It destroys us. If you love something so much that you grip it so tight, you destroy it. If you hold on to that anger and hate, it destroys you. It's the hardest thing to do because it goes against everything you're feeling. But it's the easiest thing to do because it's the right thing to do. And just let it go. Let it go. Forgive. Have empathy. And heal the only person that matters, which is you. How you heal yourself, talking to a therapist, talking out loud, writing, meetings of any kind. Anything, writing a song, writing a poem, drawing, anything that gives it an outlet so you can deal with it, talking to yourself in a mirror. So I talk to myself in a mirror. Someone said, what affirmations, Zoe, I got you. My affirmations go, I'm so happy and grateful now that my focus is strong, my dreams are fierce, and my ego is quiet. Right. So I'll do, like, I have different things that I do. So, but I'm constantly, like 3 to 5 times a day, I'm constantly repeating what I'm grateful for. Man, I'm so grateful for this life. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for these people. I'm grateful for the oceans, grateful for the grass, because it puts a smile on my face and it reminds me that life isn't as bad as I want to paint it out to be. Because again, my vision is always going to slant to the negative. Now that comes in dope in a dangerous situation because I can see danger and feel danger coming before it's there, right? I'm very aware of my surroundings. I'm very aware of people's emotions and what they're going through. Like I'm very, very aware of that. So there's times it comes in handy, but I don't need it all the time. And I just got to be aware that's who I am. So hurt people. Yeah. On the flip side, hurt people can love people too much because they're trying to fulfill something in their own cup. And honestly, and sometimes you love the wrong people. Like I love people who were constantly hurting me. And I wasn't courageous enough to walk away. And it's weird because typically when I hear people talk about this, and Corey, let me know if I'm just off base on this. You typically hear women talk like this. Like women will talk about how they stay in a relationship with a man who's somewhat abusive or putting them through something because they were raised in an abusive household. At least in my understanding, that's what I typically hear. Or women will deal with being raped by being super sexually active. So, and it's weird because it let me know that women don't just have these reactions. So this isn't just a female thing, because my reactions were the same. I became hyper sexually active, and because that's all I thought I was good for. And so I was hurting myself. I didn't want to be violent towards people that I cared about. So I put myself in situations where I knew I was gonna be forced to fight. But nobody that I cared about. And most of the time I didn't even start the fight. I just put myself in bad situations, right? And then I would stay in relationships that these people were basically letting me know that we weren't a good match. And they could cheat on me, or they could say abusive things, or they could put their hands on me. And it was like, why not just leave? And it was because I couldn't see anything better in my life. How does one stop feeling sorry and pain for younger you? Well, one, when you feel sorry for yourself, you got to understand that you're making yourself into a victim. You're no longer a victim. That's what I mean by letting it go, because it's weird. It feels like you're still there. Like when I talk about it, I feel it. It's like there's a part of me that's like, man, I remember this person being on top of me, this person doing this, and I remember it all. And I remember the pain that I was going through, but it's not real. It's not real today. It was real then, but it's not real today. So it's letting it go and realizing that I'm not a victim today. I was a victim then. I'm not a victim today. And I'm stronger and smarter because of it, right? I'm once you start to heal yourself, right? And you start to focus on yourself, you no longer put yourself in those situations. You become a fighter in a different way. You speak up for yourself. Now, a lot of times we can go to the extreme and speak up in times where we don't need to, and that's a learning process. It's because we're letting everything trigger that scar, and we don't have to. That's a different level. But we definitely can watch out for ourselves. So it's realizing that we're no longer a victim, right? We're no longer this isn't happening to us anymore, right? It happened already. So now we got to move forward, right? And that's part of the thing. And can you scroll back down? Can I see that? Or scroll up. I'm sorry, scroll up just a little bit. No, too much. How does one stop feeling sorry and pain for you? Yeah. And as far as the pain, like the pain doesn't necessarily go away, right? You just learn how to focus in something else. You work out, you use that pain for something positive. You're feeling really crappy about yourself, go work out. Go for a run. Go jump in a pool. Go hit a bag. Go lift some weights. Cook, like anything. Put it into something. Put it into something that's going to turn out positive for you. And that's a lot of times what people don't do. And honestly, what I did too. It's weird because there was a long time period where I didn't sleep enough. I didn't eat enough. And the food I did eat was crappy food. And I blew up like to a freaking, I'm a big dude. I've always been a big dude, but I'm talking like super, super obese and unhealthy because I just didn't love myself and I was putting everything into something negative. Now, if I feel crappy about myself, I just go hit a heavy bag, get a good sweat. I lift some weights. I write. I put it into something healthy. I let the negative be a positive in my life because I can't hide from the pain. The pain is going to be there. So it's like, yeah, exactly. It's someone said recognizing negative. Who is that? Oh, that's Tanisha Tai. Recognizing negative feelings and transforming them into something positive. Exactly. Sometimes it gives you a sense of control because you've been through worse when you're in similar. Yeah. What did O'Shea say that she's given 100% to? You are a true champ, man. Many people struggle with their sexuality after these experiences. Yeah, that was, I didn't know if I was gay. I didn't know what was going on. And I've talked about this, like one of these times we're going to have to, like, I've talked about it in past videos where like we started different renditions of this podcast. And we have lots of video material of me just breaking down on camera, talking about these situations. And one of them I talked about, like, I was so young, I didn't know if I could get pregnant. Like, that's how much I didn't understand about sex when this was happening to me. It was like, is it what? And so it was just such a weird situation. And it's so weird to say that I gained, I probably, I look at it now, and right now at the stage of my life at 43, I gained more from it than I ever lost from it, because my understanding of dealing with pain, my understanding of how vile this world can be. So I'm not naive to the darker sides of the world. Understanding that I have a dark side that was created by this, that I can use and deal with things when life gets really hard and stressful. I can handle that pressure where other people fold. So it made me more loving, to be honest. I give a lot of love out to people. I just want to help people. So, and I don't know what type of father I would have been if this didn't happen. I could have been a piece of crap father. I don't know. But it's crazy how this happens. But the best way to overcome it, that helped me, journaling, talking it out. I talk to myself all the time, whether I'm in a mirror, a shower, just chilling. I talk to myself, making sure I'm saying what I'm grateful for, and reminding myself that I'm not there. And then I believe someone mentioned earlier of having a safe place to talk about it. So I've created my safe spot, right? I'm very blessed that Corey runs a beautiful studio and has allowed me to do this. And this is my safe spot, talking to you. But also I have to thank my wife, because she's been open, and she understands as much as she can. And she's never made me feel less than for talking about it or having or being emotional about it. So like last night I was writing stuff for my book, and like I was shook, and she was coming in to let me know it's time to eat. And she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No." And she just hugged me. And she reminded me, she was like, "It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be hurt. Just make sure you leave it here. Leave it in this room." And it was a good reminder. She hugged me, and I'm like, I'm like, give me a couple minutes. Finished letting it out, and took a couple deep breaths, went and rinsed my face off, and I was able to go hang out with her and my son and eat dinner and just talk and hang out and have fun, because I was able to let it out. And so, and it's weird because I never gave my ex-wife a chance to see that. I never communicated that with her. And so it's definitely, having a safe spot helps. And if you're with someone, right? If you're in a relationship, you got to be honest. I don't like to call it vulnerable. Like, I don't know why, because to me it's just being honest about who you are. But if you're not honest with them about the things that you went through, then they have no understanding of why you're reacting to certain things, right? So if you were, I think it was Zoe and can you scroll back up, Corey? Zoe and who else was it? Melanie. They were talking about their experiences. If you're in a relationship with someone, you're going to have certain things that might trigger that, right? That might bring that out, where you're reacting, just purely reacting. And you have to communicate like, hey, I'm sorry. I reacted this way. I overreacted. I got emotional. It's my fault. I'm not making an excuse for it. Do you have time right now, or can we set up a time where I could tell you why I'm reacting this way? And then you got to open up to them and be honest. And the thing is, if you can't do that, if you can't be honest with your partner, then why are you with them? So it's on you to be honest with your partner, and then you could figure out like, oh man, that hopefully they're a good partner, and now you can have a full blown conversation about it, and now you can figure out a way for the situation to adapt. Because if they're like, well, what I said, there's nothing wrong with what I said, they're correct. There's nothing wrong with maybe what they said or what they did, but it's hurting you. And now they can understand why it's hurting you. And now they're more likely to say something different or do something different, if that makes sense. And so that's important. Like I don't deal well when if someone raises their voice, it instantly in a like an aggressive way, right? It instantly, like, my alarm systems go off, because now I'm like, oh, you're not gonna punk me, you're not gonna make me a victim. And so it's like I have to communicate that, because I don't want to fight, and I don't want to get to a point where I want to win an argument, because then I'm just going to argue to argue. And so, but you got to let these people know. Is this live? Yes, it's live. If you got a question, feel free to hit me with the question. So this overcoming sexual abuse, rape, any kind of emotional abuse, physical abuse, this isn't like something that there's some magical elixir that gets rid of the pain. This is a process, a lifetime process. And you have to start with loving yourself. You have to start with reminding yourself that this wasn't your fault. That for that time period, you were a victim. And that's okay. It is what it is. And remind yourself that you're still a good person and that you're still worthy of love. Then forgiveness. And then empathy and sympathy and understanding. You don't need to understand why they did it. Just understand that something must have happened to them that made them like this. Even if there wasn't, it's just having empathy. Like, man, they must have had a terrible life. That must suck. It must suck to know. It must suck to be able to do something so evil, something so wicked, right? Because most people aren't sociopaths. So it sucks. But the dealing with the pain is you're going to constantly have to deal with it. You're going to constantly have to remind yourself that you're a good person, that you love yourself, that you're grateful for life. Understand that your viewpoint on the world is going to be a bit askewed, and you got to build yourself back up. You got to build your confidence back up. You got to build it like a house. It's like one step at a time. You got to build that foundation back. You got to build it and make it strong. Strong foundation built on love and confidence for yourself. Anything that you would tell somebody else. If you've seen a child crying, if you've seen your child crying, how would you talk to them? Right? They fell down, they hurt themselves. You would give them encouragement. You would give them love, but you would encourage them to get back up and keep going. Right? If they fell off a bike and they got hurt, oh man, that sucks. Like, here, let me wash that wound off. Let me put a Band-Aid on it and give them a hug and a kiss and say, okay, that sucked. Let's get back to it, right? And you got to pour that type of you got to put that energy into yourself now. And it's a constant battle. You're constantly doing it. And some people may not understand. And it just depends on how far you want to go with it. It's like someone like David Goggins is a prime example of I don't, from what I remember in his book and just following him, he wasn't sexually assaulted, but he was beaten. He definitely dealt with physical abuse and mental and emotional abuse, and he uses it to just go deeper and deeper into the dark crevices of his brain, right? But it's a constant battle. He talks about it. It's a constant battle. It's like, it's a constant battle with me. I have to choose love and kindness. I have to constantly make that choice. I'm going to lead with love and kindness. First, I got to lead with love and kindness to myself. That was the hardest thing to learn, is that I got to be loving and kind to myself. And then I can really be loving and kind to everybody else. And so I just ended a 5-year relationship because I caught her cheating 5 days ago, going through the hardest struggle I've ever faced. I have no idea what direction to go. Man, you know what, Eli, thank you for sharing. That's deep. Yeah, Zoe hit it on the head. You got to know. I'm glad. Maybe you don't know, but this is a good time to start. No matter what that person says, it wasn't your fault they cheated. Bought a wedding ring, just bought a house for us. Just, oh man. All right, Eli, do me a favor. Don't go nowhere. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Because I've been there. My daughter's mom owned a house. We were already engaged, and she cheated. So I've been there, and I feel you, and it sucks. First thing you got to know, there's nothing that you could have done that would have, it's not your fault, essentially. Unless you're beating the crap out of her and doing some really foul things, there's nothing that you could have done different. There's nothing, this isn't your fault. Because yes, she could say, well, you're not making enough money, you didn't take trash out, you didn't do this, that didn't. There's no excuse for cheating. She should have just broke it off. So that's not on you. She made a choice to do some really outlandish things. And she did something very for selfish reasons. She did something for her pleasure. And now it's not, and the weird thing is, it's not just hurting her, it's hurting you. So first off, it's not on you. If she tries to put it on you, now comes the hardest part in the world. And I've been on both sides of this fence. You have to now make a decision. Yeah, rebuilding a broken soul, but before that, you also have to figure out, well, let me ask this. Is she trying to stay with you? Is she trying to be with you? I think you got to move that puzzle piece. I know it's still going. Does she want to continue the relationship? And then you got to decide, no, I ended everything and packed up all the things. Okay, good. Okay, so you made the decision. Cool. Delete her from your phone, right? Delete the contact. Block everything. Because there is no half step in here. You made the choice that she's gone. Now you gotta clean it out. You gotta clean everything out. If you wanted to be with her, that's a whole different story, right? A whole different story. But you have to get rid of it all now. Get rid of it all. Delete everything, right? Make a clean break. And now, yes, you got to rebuild your soul. You got to go back in, right? And remind yourself that you're a good person, that this wasn't on you, that this has already happened. It's already done. You can't go back. You can't change it, right? And we start going forward. So I would recommend, right? I would recommend if you're not going to a gym, this is where you find a gym. This is where you lose yourself in a gym, right? It's weird. You lose yourself in a gym. Lift, do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, learn Muay Thai. This is where you now take, because you're going to have time, right? The time that you had in that relationship is now free. And instead of losing it with alcohol or food and doing all this stuff, no. We're going to take all that energy now and we're going to put it into something positive. Just like I said earlier, it's time to put this energy into something positive, right? So now you're going to learn something. Maybe I would definitely recommend the gym because you need to get that stress out, right? Whether it's lifting, whether it's learning a martial art, whatever it is, put that energy into something and then start learning something new. But we got to fill that time up a little bit, because if we just sit at home, take a little time at home. I would start writing things out so you can get it out emotionally, and you're going to cry, type it out. But definitely, I would say this is where you go start lifting weights. This is where you start learning a new art form, and you just pour into that, right? And you're going to become somebody new because of this. You're going to take this pain, right? And you're going to build on it. And let this pain, it's a dark place sitting at the house in silence, bottle never seems to be empty. Yeah, man. That's why you don't just sit in that dark place. It's going to be dark. But you control you, right? You could choose to put some light in that darkness, because nothing is stopping you from going to a gym. Nobody can say that I don't have the money for it, because you can go to the gym for $10 a month, right? I always encourage people to do a martial art, right? So I don't know where you live at. Where do you stay at? Where do you, like, what area of the world? What area of the country, right? And I would find South Florida. Yeah, man, there's plenty of gyms there, right? Plenty of gyms you could lift at, learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, learn Muay Thai, do boxing. Like, go punch some shit. Go be around other individuals that are working through some shit too. And some individuals that not. So definitely look to lift weights, look to run, look to learn a new martial art, man. I'm always encouraging people and it's not just because I run a gym, it's because I know the benefits of it, right? You kill that ego. You kill that ego. So it's like you go to the gym to kill that, to destroy that ego, because it's the ego that wants to sit in the dark. Don't get it twisted. Everybody thinks the ego makes you feel better than you are. It does. But there's a downside to that ego. It also makes it seem like you're worse than what you are. And you're not. It sucks. You're in pain right now. The love of your life is gone. Nothing we can do about it now. Now we point that pain at something, right? We point it at something. Working out is some of the best things to do. Point it at that. And then what is it that you want to do with your life? I don't know how old you are, but what is it that you want to do? And you start putting your energy into that, right? Because you're going to make yourself into a better person. You're going to use this, right? You're going to use it to propel you into something better. And you flip it. You flip this negative and it turns out into something positive. And then you just know, like, there's another person out there that you're going to meet, right? It's not going to be tomorrow. It may not be in a year, but you stay focused on building you and that person will come, right? And you figure out how to be a better person, but don't sit in the darkness. Use it. Use it. What are these ladies talking about? I see Jamie and Zoe talking about stuff. What are we talking about here? I'm 25. I own 7 companies in South Florida. Money is no object. I focused my entire life on work. but I've never built myself. Well, it's time. It's time. Let's get to building. If money's not an issue, it's time to start building something for you. Like build you. Great. You got 7 companies. Let's get it. Let's get it. You're the perfect person that should go do BJJ or Muay Thai. Also lift weights, but I'm saying you're the perfect person to get in there and start doing, just lose yourself, because it's going to help you in your business. It's going to help you so much in your business, right? And it's going to kill that ego. It's going to destroy that ego so you could just bask in the light. Definitely go do something like that, man. I'm telling you, like, lose yourself. Yeah, 25, you're still so young. Like, your brain isn't even fully developed yet. It doesn't fully develop. It stops about 25, 27, right? 7 businesses, 7 companies, man, go get it. Go get it. So you're already building something that you love, but you're right. Build you now. And building you, like I said, you got free. If you didn't have free time before, you're going to have way more free time because now you're not coming home to someone. That's on her. Let her be who she is. You go to the gym. You go learn how to punch something. You go learn how to choke people out and get choked out, right? Tall and skinny. Yeah, so go hit those. Man, you're 6'6", 200 pounds. Bruh, I'm telling you right now, man, you could probably put on 30 to 40 pounds of muscle and look like Swole Diesel. Go do that. And if money is an issue, get a trainer. But I'm also telling you to do martial arts. Learn how to stretch, do martial arts, lift some weights. Bruh, go get it. And watch how you flip. And watch by the time you're 26, 27, how much life looks different. On top of that, you're going to be around like-minded individuals that want the ego to be smashed, want to do better in life. So it's like, most definitely go get it. 6'6", 200 pounds. Yeah, let's go. I tore my MCL meniscus and can't train. It's crazy frustrating. Sid, I mean, you can still come in and do something. You can still go into go somewhere and wait. What was it? The MCL and meniscus? Well, I've torn my ACL twice, and I've torn my LCL once on one knee. I just got my meniscus repaired on my other knee. I'm still in the gym. I may not be able to do everything I want to do, but I'm still in the gym working. I don't know what Eli just sent me, but thank you. I've never seen that, but you sent me a galaxy. I appreciate you. I've never seen that. I appreciate running into you, randomly scrolling, came across your page, needed this. But that's why I'm here, man. Like DM me, Eli, DM me, man, because I always, if you're still here, I tell people to message me, and man, I can help. Like, I'm here. Like, doing life coaching. I'm here. I'm here helping people. This is what I want to do. Or just message me questions, man. I'm down. What I tell you earlier, you're here for a reason. At a gym down in Dallas. Yeah, so get it, man. Get it. Exactly. See, Jamie's on point. That's what I'm talking about. You can't give me an excuse. There's nothing you can say that's going to click in my brain that's going to tell me that you can't go train. Because both my rotator cuffs are torn. My bicep my bicep sits funny when I lift weights because it's completely torn. My knees are wrecked and my right foot doesn't work. I still go work. I just can't do it the way I used to. So there's not a reason. And as far as Eli, DM going to get out of the house. Yes, get out the house. That's what I'm talking. Take your big 6'6", 200-pound behind and get out the house and go live life, man. That's what I'm talking about. Jamie's right. Know your limits. So I seen they was talking about something about a narcissist. Can we go back to that before we get offline? What are they talking about, a narcissist? What are they talking about? Let's see here. Okay, my narcissist late husband did that to me. He threatened to X himself when I left. Yeah, it's hard. You want to believe him. Narcissist is good. So what I'll say, what was right above that? Is there anything above that? True. Some will lie to get you back. They know what to say to draw you back into their lives. So Here's the thing. Everybody assumes that the person's lying. They could have meant what they said, right? They just don't know how to back it up with actions. So, because how often do you hear someone say, hey, I'm gonna go work out tomorrow, and then they just don't follow through? That's not a lie. It wasn't a lie when they said it. They weren't trying to manipulate the situation when they said it. Their actions just aren't being backed up, right? So they have a horrible follow through. So this person could have said, hey, I'm going to change. I'm going to do better. And they could have meant it at the time, but they don't even know what that looks like. And they're not courageous enough to go get it, go figure out how to make it happen and go get help, right? Now, I'm not saying there aren't narcissists out there, and I'm not saying people don't purposely try to manipulate the situation. And so it's just, that's not in our control. And so I don't want, if you spend time worrying about that, then you're not worried about you. So if someone tells you something and then they don't follow through, you have a choice, right? Okay. Do I want to stay with this person? Okay. And then they do it again, and they do it again, and they do it again. Instead of worrying about, oh, they're lying to me and they're manipulating me, just call it as it is. Yeah, you may want to do that. You may want to be better, but your actions, you don't know how to put that in action. And I can't be with someone who doesn't know how to put that in action. We're at two different stages of our lives. And I need someone that's going to say something and do what they say, right? Because everybody makes that mistake. They'll say something and maybe not back it up right away, or they don't know how. And then, yeah, you gotta ask for it. Yeah, narcissists don't own up or change. Everyone can have a narcissistic behaviors and learn. Actions louder than words. Sometimes, not all the time. Not all the time. I think words matter. Actions also matter. So if actions were always louder than words, then people wouldn't need to hear I love you. Even though someone's doing all the actions that's showing they love. So actions and words are both important. And Jamie, I don't know, like that's a unisex name a lot of times. So I'm not sure if you're male or female. I didn't read everything above, but I know Zoe's a female. So it's like, this is a conversation I have with women all the time, or used to, especially at my gym, especially with my female fighters. They would come to me about certain issues. And I would never take the man off the hook. I'm not that kind of dude. I would always say, okay, were you honest about everything? Did you tell him what you were? My daughter all of her life, I'm trying to help her. My husband was in the house and mentally neglected my daughter all of her life. I'm trying to help her. So can you be more specific in what you're talking about as far as mentally neglected? You're saying my daughter, or it was your joint daughter? So like, was he a stepfather? Was he, and I speak in general though, because there are women and men. Yeah, I feel you, Jamie. So men, and I mean, you know what? I'm not even talking about women. I just tell people to be honest. I don't like that you say when this is said to me, I feel this way. That is the correct societal psychotherapist way of expressing it. When this was said to me, I felt this. When this is done, I felt this way. Because then you're not attacking that person, right? Now, men don't really communicate with each other like that. Like if Corey says something that I thought was foul, like, yo, you were out of pocket for saying that, B. And he'd be like, oh, word? My bad. Or, man, I ain't trying to hit it. Like, we know where we will stand on that, right? And we can have a deeper conversation about it, of course. But when you're dealing with the opposite sex, communication has to work differently, right? So it's like, are you communicating your wants, your needs, your feelings properly? And if they're not understanding what you're saying, you have to you guys got to figure out how to communicate. And I talked about this before. Like, you got to figure out how to communicate. Our joint daughter, he never made time for her. TV came before her. So yeah, what up, Big Mo? So TV came before her. Yeah. And did he work did he work all the time and then came home and just watched TV? This is something that, like, it sucks, because this is, as men, I think, Corey, we talked about this, like, the men in our lives and the men that we've seen, they didn't have any interaction with kids.
Right.
It was like, I went to work and now I'm doing this. The moms took care of the school, the doctor, the everything. And so that's what we learned. Like, I don't know how old he is, and it's no excuse, right? But if we don't have a role model that's showing us this, we have to go get, like, seek this information out, because we typically, if your ex, Zoe, didn't deal with any abuse, right, or deal with any trauma, and this is what he's seeing, like, man goes to work, man comes home, eats and relaxes, and then goes to work again. It's like, you don't realize that you got to put more effort into it, right? Because we live in a different times where women also work, and not anybody. No, he didn't work. He did everything. He had a chronic illness. Okay, wait a minute. He had a chronic illness. He didn't. Well, see, now, what was his chronic? Like, he had a chronic illness that kept him from working. So I'm guessing he also was probably a little ashamed of himself and probably didn't feel good as a man, to be honest with you, because a man always, a man, there's going to be, like, parts in him, even if he's not doing it, that's going to want to protect, provide, do more. And if he didn't have the capabilities of doing that, right, he doesn't know how, like, and then if he doesn't, he may not have in his mind, maybe he didn't want to make a connection because he knew he wasn't going to be around. Like, that's such a hard thing. So, and again, I'm not making excuses for him. What I'm saying is, I'm looking at his point of view. I'm trying to have empathy for him. And when you can do that, it's, you let go of all the pain, and not the pain, but you let go of all the anger and the hate. It's like, yes, he could have looked at life like, oh, I'm not going to have much time here. Let me give it to my family. Let me give everything to my family. And that's what we would say is probably the correct decision. But he didn't know how to do that. And he became selfish because he didn't know how to open up. Now, when I word it like that, right, it sounds way different. I wasn't there. I don't know. But that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like, he didn't want to open himself up. He was ashamed of himself. He was dealing with it. Can you scroll down or whatever direction? He had leukemia. I tried to uplift him. I appreciate your point of view from inside. Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know why my eye was doing that either. Big Mo, I noticed that. The topic was overcoming abuse and sexual abuse. So we've already dove past that, it seems like. So, but a lot of the things I'm saying will help you with getting over certain things. So it's like, leukemia is no joke. From everything that I've seen and I've read, like, it drains you mentally and emotionally. So it's like, and yeah, I get it. You were uplifting him, and in your mind, it's like, I'm giving him all this love. Why aren't you giving? Fear, right? He was afraid. He was afraid of opening himself up, afraid to be honest about what he's feeling, afraid to give love because he's not going to be here, afraid of everything. And yeah, fear should be used as a weapon. But if nobody taught him how to do that, to take that fear That fear, everything that you fear, you got to face. If someone would, if I had the opportunity to talk to someone like him, I'd be like, look, man, cool. The doctor said you got 3 months. Leave a lasting impression on your family over this 3 months that and teach lessons, give lessons, write lessons down. Like for you said, like your daughter. How old is your daughter now? And how old was she when he passed away? And how old was she when she dealt with, like, because the first thing that comes to mind is like I can't remember the name of the movie. And it's an older movie now, I think from the 80s or 90s. But this man, he knew he was dying of cancer, and he made videos for his kid, right? He still fought every day, but he made these videos for his, I believe, son to watch. And I never lost sight of that. And so because I've dealt with a lot of death, I'm constantly preaching to my kids these messages. Michael Keaton. Yes. Michael Keaton was in them. Yes. I don't know the name of the movie. So Kimmy, if you got it, please drop it. So it's like, she was 5 when he first got sick. He passed in 21. She's 20. She was 5 when he got sick. She's 28 now. So I don't want to sound morbid, but it sounds like everything is coming to an end. If you're talking about overall in the world, yeah, it could be, but it's always sounded like that, man. So 2001, she was 5. Man. How to get over the mental neglect. This is where, again, empathy, because it comes down on her and you. You both can look at it like he was a piece of crap father, piece of crap husband, and didn't care about anybody, right? Didn't care. You can go that route, and you can harp on that. But how does that help? How does that help? It's like he was dealing with a life-threatening disease that took his life, and he just didn't know how to open up. He was hurting. He was sad. He was beat up, and we gave all the love we could, and that's all we can do. That's all we could do, is we gave him as much love as we could, and we miss him. And you kind of go from there, and it sucks. It sucks so bad that happened, right? Then okay. So Zoe, that's what I'm saying. Like it's obvious that the disease did this. He didn't face it, right? He didn't face it. He did lose 19 years. That's right. But it's all on how you flip it now, right? It's all on how you flip it around. Your father loved you so much, and I know you can't remember this, but tell her stories. You fill her brain, you fill her heart with stories of that love. And when this disease hit him, he didn't know what to do. This disease broke him, right? It broke him. You can have empathy for someone that's been broken. He was broken. This disease basically strapped him to a table and tortured him. It tortured him. It tortured his soul. And yeah, he could have fought back. We could say what he should have done, what he could have done, but this disease tortured him. This disease strapped him to a table and tortured him. And he didn't know how to fight back, right? You can have empathy. If I told you a story about a person that was tortured and just broke, we would all have empathy. We would feel sorry for that person. That's essentially, you just have empathy for that person, right? That's the only way you move past it. And then she's just got to talk. She's got to remember. She's got to be grateful for the good times, right? Any good times that she can remember. Anything. Well, it's Zoe. Here's the thing. It's not on you. If you're doing this stuff right, there's nothing else you can do. I promise you that. There's nothing. As the message says, you control you. I got to get used to that. You control you. So at some point, your daughter has to look in the mirror and face it. Right now, she's at a point in her brain is just now fully developed, right? And she's going through stages where she feels trapped, where she doesn't know what to do. Is she talking to a therapist? Is she talking to a priest? Is she talking to a pastor? Is she talking, like, if you believe in God, is she talking to God? Is she, have her talk about what she's grateful for and write it out, right? She's got to first recognize what she's grateful for instead of always focusing on the negative. Focus on the positive, because I guarantee you she's got more positive going on. You could be homeless on the street and still have things to be positive for because you're alive. And she's just got to focus on being grateful. But there's nothing, and it sucks, Zoe, there's nothing you could do about it. Just like you couldn't get him to change, what you can do is be the beacon of light. You stay positive. You let go of, if you have anger and hate, you got to start to let that go. You got to just work on being the best version you can be, and then just be a support system for her. That's what you could do. Big Mo, when you talked about like everything's coming to an end, are you talking about the world? Did he say exactly what he was talking about? I don't want to sound morbid, but it sounds like everything is coming to an end. Yeah. Do you mean like the world? She dropped out of school at 16 due to depression. She got her GED last week. Yeah. So that's okay. You were talking about the end of the world. All right, Zoe, here's something I've talked about on this podcast. Anxiety is when you focus on the future. Depression is because you're focused on the past. She has to figure out a way to live in the present. That's where listing what you're grateful for helps a lot. She needs to focus on what she's grateful for, the things that are good in her life. And it could be as simple as, I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful that my mom's here. I'm grateful for this. Like, if she starts with 3 to 5 things and it just builds more and more, and you go through it, 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 because life sucks. Life is hard, but we got to keep pushing. So yeah, it feels like we're in the end of times. I haven't been here for that long, but based on what I feel, my instincts, you could say. So Big Mo, I put it like this. If the world came to an end, there's nothing we could do about it, right? And you could feel that way, but again, there's nothing we could do about it. You could do your part, right? You can not pollute. You can live a solid life by your moral code, by your values. But if the world was going to come to an end, it's going to come to an end. There's nothing we could do to stop it. What you could do is live your life and reach for your goals, reach for your dreams. And I've talked about that before. Are you striving to be the best version of you? And focus on that. Are you being a good person to those around you? Because depending on your religious beliefs or whatever, we don't have a lot of control. We just control ourselves. We can't make anybody else do. So here, let me give you the greatest quote I've ever heard. Do or do not. There is no try. Yoda. So there again, do or do not. There's no reason to hate. Hate doesn't get us anywhere. Love, man. Love even the ones you don't want to mess with. If you don't want someone in your life, you don't have to be around them. You can still love them, right? Hate only hurts us. Hating doesn't do damage to anything else but us. It brings about this energy that we do not need, but they are still us. What I don't know what you mean by that, but they are still us. At the end of the day, hating hurts only us. Lead with love, even when it's hard. People in general, yeah. Like, you don't have to rock with everybody, though. Like, my circle is small. It's bigger than some others, but it's still small, right? I don't have to rock with everybody. I just want to vanquish. Oof. How old are you? How old are you? And what do you, when you say you're trying to do what you want to do, 17 about to turn 18. All right, man. All right. So you're at this age where you're trying to figure life out, trying to be independent, but still a teenager. Do you work out? Wait, I can't remember. I think, has Big Mo been on here before? I can't remember if he's the boxer. So boxing gym, yep. We've talked before. Okay. Bruh. Yeah. See? Good memory. I was shocked on that one. But man, you're doing that stuff that causes anxiety. You're too focused on the future and too focused on other people. And I'm curious, how much time, like, I appreciate you being on social media right now, right? But how much time are you spending on it? Because social media has a way of flooding all the negative stuff to us. You have to go out of your way to search for positive things. So it's like you can choose, yeah, all the time, yeah. So what I'll ask this. What are you researching on social media? Like me, I search for motivational stuff. I purposely search for positive things. So that's my algorithm. Right. And something negative that comes up, I have to get off. Like, I don't want to see something negative because it corrupts us. It gives us this energy. So it's like, you're a boxer. Watch motivational videos from Canelo, from Floyd Mayweather, from Mike Tyson, from Ali, from, like, just boom, study boxing, right? Social media is such a beautiful tool when it's used correctly, right? Listen to podcasts, not just mine, listen to podcasts that are uplifting, right? Okay, you do that. Then the moment something negative comes up, move it. Move it. Some things can be negative, but if you know, say your piece. And yeah. And Big Mo, do you believe in God? Are you talking to God? If you do believe in God, I believe in God. I talk to God all the time. We have some dope conversations. And I don't just talk to him when I'm in pain. I talk to him every day, right? I talk to God every day. And so, yeah, so keep talking to God and just know, and then just keep focusing on your own life. Focus on making your dreams a reality. We had this conversation before, right? Just keep focusing on that. Yeah, just distance. Yeah, like, it just, how can I not? What else is there? What do you how can you not? Look, the negative isn't going to go away. Use that energy to go punch something. Use that energy to go run. Use that energy to jump rope. Use that energy to go do something creative and positive. You may not be able to get rid of the pain and the negative thoughts, but use it for something. Use it and turn it into something positive. I just do it because I have to. What do you mean you just do it because you have to? What do you have to do? Fight. The thing is, you don't have to fight. You don't. You could choose to do something else if you wanted to. The thing is, what do you want to do? If I said I wanted to become an astronaut right now, could I become an astronaut? Probably not. But I damn sure could start going to school, start reading the books, start doing all this studying to figure out those steps. That doesn't mean I'm going to become an astronaut, but I can start putting in the work in for it, right? I'm probably not going to get it, but that's okay. So we can put in energy into anything that we want to do. So if you do not want to fight, you don't have to fight. If you could figure out something else to do. It's never that cut and dry. It's just when you get very stuck, you don't see another way out. There's always another way out. Okay, so you're a fighter. That's what you want to do. There's a difference. You don't have to do it. You want to do it. There's a difference in this language. Big difference. Big difference. And how you word things. This is who I am. I have to. I'm telling you, bruh, it's a choice. You're choosing it. If you have to do it, that's like somebody's forcing you to do it. It's someone forcing you to do it. If this is your choice, then it's your choice. And the moment you look at it that way, you will enjoy it even more because it's your choice and you control you and you have the ability to do it. You don't feel it's my choice. I mean, why don't you feel it's your choice? And it's understandable that you have those feelings. And you know what? It sucks that you have those feelings. The whole world. But the whole world isn't you. And there's no need to pay attention to the whole world. If you want to change the world, you first must change yourself. You cannot bring anybody else up until you put yourself in a situation where you can now pull people up. You have to become a better version of you, sir. And so what I would challenge you is you can prepare and learn how to fight, and you could fight because you want to make sure you can stand strong for the world, but you do not have to, my friend. And even though I could say your feelings are correct, because they are your feelings, right? They are your feelings. Let's also be real. You're not being forced to fight. You are not being forced. If you are, please say so. That's a different story. But as long as you make this choice, you are choosing it. And that's okay. Your logical brain needs to understand, I'm a gladiator. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But you're choosing to be a gladiator. So be uplifted by that choice. You don't have to be a gladiator. You don't have to fight. The whole world could be collapsing and you still do not have to fight. You do not have to fight. It's a choice. You put yourself in a victim mind frame when you say, I have to do something. Do not have to do it. It's a choice. And there's strength in choosing that. There's so much strength because you're controlling you. You, like, a teenager has to go to school, otherwise they get kicked out, right? They have to do that. But you're saying it's you. Good. That's a choice. You could choose not to choose that, right? You could choose something else. You could say, yeah, I'm a fighter, but I'm going to put this energy and be the best cook I could be with my fighter-like mentality. That's what you could do, right? I'm a warrior. I didn't think I could stop fighting. I coach now, but I coach with a fighter-like mentality. I just understand I'm coaching. I raise my kids. I'm a husband with that mentality. Like, I'm not going to stop working to become better because I'm a fighter. You see how I'm pointing that in different directions? The mentality doesn't have to die. You don't have to go in a ring and fight. You could put that mentality and energy into something else. But if you want to fight, that's a choice. Don't let anybody take that choice from you. You control you all day. Yeah. Yeah. Take that power, man. Take that power. And that's all I'm talking about in this whole podcast, right? Yes. I could sit here and say, man, I was raped. I was called the N-word. I was raped by 3 different men. I was sexually assaulted by another man, and a woman took advantage of a young kid, right? Which is also called statutory rape. That was me not having a choice. I didn't have a choice. So if I say that I'm doing something and I didn't have a choice, I'm putting myself back as that person, and I refuse to be a victim. I'm not going to be a victim. I have no choice if an asteroid comes and hits the planet, right? I'm stuck. But if it doesn't destroy us right away, I don't have to just sit in the house and die. I can scrap. I can try to do everything I can for my family to survive. Like, if you're a fighter, you don't have to give up. But you also don't have to do certain things. You don't lack anything. It's all in you. You just got to take the time to unlock it, man. Talk to God. Talk to yourself in a mirror. Because I guarantee right now, Big Mo, what would you tell, like, let's say, I don't know if you have siblings or friend, like what your friend situation is, but imagine somebody you love comes up to you and says, man, I don't know how to, I have to do this, man. Like, I don't know what else to do with my life. Like, I'm lost. I don't love myself. Like, I don't have none. What would you tell that person? See, this is why we need you. Oh, you're quit playing. There's no way you telling someone you love tough luck. Ain't no way. Quit fronting. It don't matter, you have to. I mean, that's definitely a man's point of view. I love it because that's initially what I want to say a lot of times, but tough love isn't always needed, right? So tough luck, you have to do it anyway. What I could say is, like, I love what Jamie is the prime example of why you need a man and a woman, because she's asking dope questions like, what do you think you lack? Like, she's during the nurturing aspect. I'm just straight up telling you, you're not lacking nothing. If anything, you're lacking knowledge, and you can go get that. But everything that is inside you, you just have to unlock. Instead of worrying about the world, why aren't you worried about your jab? How's that jab snapping? How's that cross looking? How's your slip game? How's that hook? How's that liver shot? You know what I'm saying? Like, how's that footwork? So instead of focusing on the world, you could be breaking down your technique. You could be filming your technique. Now, why are you worried about it just in the gym? This is where you got to go and listen to Kobe, right? Kobe trains 3 times a day, or he did. He was obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with making my stuff better as a coach, as a fighter. I was always obsessed. How much are you practicing outside the gym? We've had this talk before. Like, it's not just in the gym that you're working. You could be getting better outside the gym. So that's what you could focus on and make yourself better. And then you don't have time to focus on the bad stuff in the world, right? And you could take all that pain and all that anger and all that and unleash it on a shot and let it go and let it be.
You don't have the luxury not to spend time not sharpening your mind.
Yeah, like you There's a reason why Floyd is undefeated. That man's studying everything. That man is working tirelessly on his craft. Even now, like, he doesn't stop. And when you do that, you ain't got time for nothing else. Nothing else. It's amazing how that happens. Invest more time into yourself and you will unlock the things that you think you lack. Ooh, bars. Bars. And so, yeah, man. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. 2 hours. Incredible. Thank y'all, man. I hope y'all follow, like, share. We'll be back on Thursday. Thursday.
Won't be here Thursday.
Oh, so I might be back Thursday. Yeah, I might be back Thursday. I'll probably be back Thursday, but I'll be in the office at the crib. I'm 46 and I used to worry about the world and people as a teenager, but people repeat. Yeah, dead ass. Focus on yourself. Focus on yourself and what you can do. Focus on the thing you love and then use what you love to help others. Boom. You know what I'm saying? You're very welcome. I thank y'all so much for tuning in. DM me with messages, questions, whatnot, anything. I appreciate y'all so much. I love y'all so much, man. And we out. Peace.